And welcome into this week's episode of Crazy's Corner. We're doing redraft trades this week. So we got this show is going to be guys that we're trying to trade for, add to our team, and then we'll have another show which is guys we're trying to trade away. So make sure if you haven't checked out the other show already, do that after you watch this one. And if you have, you're here to learn who we're trying to trade for. We got Jeff and Will from media. How we doing, guys? We got the Seahawks had a rough game, and the Vikings are 4-0. Sam Darnold is going strong. So we got three guys. We're going to talk about one guy each. I'm going to start us off, and I'm trying to trade for the current wide receiver 71 in half-point PPR league. So it's nice and down low there. But once you hear the name, it'll all kind of make sense, and that's A.J. Brown, who only played in week 1 and put up 21 points in a half-point PPR league, which is amazing. They're on bye this week, and then he should be back the week after their bye. So I think if you're going to buy A.J. Brown, I think now is the time. Go out and get him. He is, to me, he's probably a top 5 fantasy wide receiver. Kellen Moore, they're going to throw the ball. They need to get this offense going, and I think that's going to be through A.J. Brown once he gets back. He's a target hog, and he will be scoring touchdowns as well. So when you put all of that together, I think right now, he's been out a couple weeks. People are like, oh my gosh, hamstring injuries linger. He should be 100% by the time he comes back from the bye. They've let him rest. They haven't forced him back too early, which is great. So I'm going out. I'm trying to get A.J. Brown. He is a top 5 fantasy wide receiver, in my opinion, and I don't think you have to pay that right now. I think you can maybe trade a wide receiver 2 and a backup running back to get A.J. Brown at this point. And that's a trade that I would definitely be looking to do if you're in a spot where you're going to be contending this year. A.J. Brown's a guy you're going to want to have on your team. What do you guys think about A.J. Brown? Are you interested in trying to acquire him?
Definitely. One of the strongest receivers there is. He's the kind of guy that Jalen Hurts needs, to where you can throw it up and he can go get it. And that's what they're missing right now. He doesn't, the other guys are not like that. And as a result, you can see everything slowing down with that offense. So he will be a shot in the arm when they get back, and I can see Jalen Hurts just going ahead and giving him a ton load of passing attempts his way.
Yeah, he had 10 targets in week 1 this year. So if he can get anywhere near that, that'll probably be a little more efficient, and that'll be good for A.J. Brown. Will, what do you think about A.J. Brown?
I think it's a 50-50 risk. He could be what takes you over, or the trade could be that sinks your chances. Just because he's getting older. Injuries start creeping up. It just is what it is with this game. And I'm not sold on the Eagles right now. I'm not sold on Jalen Hurts. And so, there's a reason why that team struggled at the end of last year. And you're starting to see still a little bit of the things this year. So I think it's – if the trade is right, you're not overpaying, yes. But it could bite you. That's all.
Yeah, to me, like I said, if you can trade a wide receiver 2 and a bench piece and get A.J. Brown, that's what I'm looking to do right now. They did struggle at the end of last year, but I think what we saw in week 1 against Green Bay when they were healthy was an efficient offense. Saquon Barkley had a big game. A.J. Brown had a big game. Devonta Smith was there. These past few weeks, we've seen Jalen Hurts without Devonta Smith and without A.J. Brown. Teams are stacking the box against him and Barkley. So that to me, I'm not too worried about the Eagles, but I do get what you're saying. It's definitely a chance that things start to go downhill. But I do like this offense, and I like this opportunity. Jeff, who's the player you are trying to acquire right now?
I am trying to acquire my man Kareem Hunt right now. And let me tell you why. Basically, Kareem Hunt is Isaiah Pacheco with upside. He is just as good, honestly, as Pacheco right now. Because the one thing Pacheco lacks that Kareem Hunt has is Kareem Hunt is actually a little bit faster than he is. When I looked at Isaiah Pacheco, he immediately reminded me of somewhat of a younger but a little bit less talented Kareem Hunt. And that's basically what he was. So right when they got Kareem Hunt back, I was like, he's got a little bit more boost than Isaiah Pacheco. I was like, he couldn't have gone to a better place at a time where they need him right now, with Rice being out.
Yeah, I was going to say, for me right now at this point, Kareem Hunt last week proved that he's going to be the RB1 for this team. But I like his upside just due to the fact that their receivers right now is an aged Travis Kelce, who's probably not what he once was. They have Xavier Worthy, who can go deep, but he's not going to be that guy that fills that Rashee Rice role. And we know how good Kareem Hunt is out of the backfield receiving-wise. So if he can get a few more targets a game, I think that can really up his fantasy relevance. He's a guy I definitely tried to pick up. And if you can go get him before he has his boom week, a week where he scores maybe 2 touchdowns and has 5 catches, you might want to, because he could be a guy that wins you your championship. Will, are you in on Kareem Hunt?
I had Kareem Hunt on my roster on all my teams at the start of the year, whether redraft or dynasty. I've always liked Kareem Hunt as a player. It's as Jeff loves Derrick Henry, I like Kareem Hunt, and I think, Zach, the point you made, I think his value comes in not just as the running back, but with Rashee Rice going down, he's going to get I think 4 or 5 touches a week in the passing game.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, his value's up right now, and I'm looking forward to anyone who would like to make a real offer. in the keeper league.
Yeah, like I said, I think this is a good time if you can. If you didn't pick him up on waivers, maybe you go and try and trade for him. Will, who is your player that you're trying to acquire? Another running back.
And I think this is the week, if you're going to do it, you got to do it now. Start out hot, and then kind of so last couple weeks is J.K. Dobbins with the Chargers. Like, I think you can get him low. So if you've been waiting, and we know what Harbaugh does, he likes to run the ball. I think his numbers get better, again, as the year goes on. And if you can get him now, you may not have to give up much. And it could be the difference later in the year when you need a running back to get you some points. And he could be a sneaky ad right now that I think a lot of people think that was a first week luck of the draw, maybe, of the roll. But I'd go get him if you can get him.
Yeah, so looking at his first 2 weeks, it was easier matchups against Carolina and Las Vegas, but Justin Herbert was healthy, and that to me is the big difference. So as the past 2 weeks, Justin Herbert hasn't been healthy. He's also gone up against Pittsburgh and KC, who are good against the run. So when you put the fact that he had 2 really good matchups, he had Boom, and then he had 2 really bad matchups with a hurt quarterback, his snap percentages went up in both games. He went up from 46 in week 2 against Carolina to 65 to 71. So clearly they're giving him, because he's been more efficient with his touches than Gus Edwards has. So if he can be anywhere near that 60 to 70% snap share, I do believe this Chargers team is going to be winning games, and that means that they're going to be running the ball. J.K. Dobbins has always had the big playability, and we've seen that this year coming off of the knee injury. He's had the Achilles, and he still has that big play explosive upside. So I do agree with you. They're on bye this week, so you probably have a 2-week window now where you can trade for J.K. Dobbins while coming off of 2 bad weeks against Pittsburgh and KC. So I'm in.
Especially with a redraft, right? Because he's on bye, and if he's on a team in your league that's maybe 2-2, and so they're worried about winning this week, and you can give them a player that helps them this week because they're 2-2, and you can absorb Dobbins being on a bye this week. Yeah, it's a good time to go shopping.
Yeah, or even after the bye week, you just go say, "Oh, they just lost because they didn't have a player," and then he's past his bye week, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about that, and then you can go get him. That's with AJ Brown as well. If you trade for him in between these next 2 weeks, his bye's over, and then you have him for the rest of the season. So there's 3 guys that we are trying to acquire. Hopefully, like I said, you guys already watched the other show. 3 guys we're trying to trade away before their value plummets. So go watch that show if you haven't already. Thanks, Jeff and Will from Media, for joining. Have a good night, and we'll see you next time.
All right.